Okay, today we're going to start a new program which will help us make web pages. It's called Visual Studio Code. And I believe last week I uploaded the new version in your computers. So if for some reason you open up the program and it says you need to download the new one, my guess is it's there. We just might have to find the other, like maybe it's Visual Studio Code 2. You might have two versions in your computer. But this is how I'm going to find it. You could either just type in Visual Studio Code and see if that works. Now, if that doesn't work, you may have to go to Finder and then go to Applications, and you should see Visual Studio Code 2. If you only have one, it just might be called Visual Studio Code. All right, I'm going to go ahead and open that up. And if you get this, just go ahead and click Open. And your screen will look something like mine. I'm just making it a little bit larger. Okay, the first thing that you want to do is click on this paper. And after you click on the paper on the top left corner, just click Open Folder. And we want to put our work in our documents. So I'm clicked on Documents, and I'm just going to click on New Folder. And for this first website, I'm just going to put my new website. And I'm going to toggle case it, kind of like I learned before. My new website. I guess this is called camel case. In real camel case, the first one is lowercase. So we'll go ahead and follow those rules. And click Create. Now I'm there in my new website. I can tell because of the top. And I'm just going to click Open. Now what I need to do is I need to create a paper. So how do I create my first file? If I just put my mouse on top of my new website, I'm going to see some choices. I have New File, New Folder, Refresh, and Collapse All. I'm going to go ahead and click on New File. Every time you have a website, the main page, the home page, is called index.html. So I'm going to type that in. Make sure you spell it right. When you're done, you can just press Return. Now you have a beginning, which you can start typing your code. Instead of you having to type your code, I've given you something that you can copy and paste for your first website. Go ahead and copy and paste the code. Actually, it's not code quite yet, but go ahead and copy and paste the section about Visit Anytown, USA into your file. Now you'll notice it says Unsaved up here. Once you see that, just go ahead and click on the little blue discs for Save All. So now it's saved. And let's take a look at our website. In Khan, it's nice because you can see it as you work. It's a little different when we work in Visual Studio Code. In order to see what you're going to do is just open up your Finder and go to Documents, and you'll see your new website folder. Here's mine. And in my new website folder, there I see index.html. Let me go ahead and open that up. And you'll see my website. It's amazing. It just says index.html on the top because I haven't given my website a title. And you'll see one big paragraph of all of the text. Now this is definitely not what I want my text to look like. So I'm going to do a little bit of editing of my code and come back to this. So on your screens, they're nice and large. You might want to just put this to your side, but I'm working from home on my laptop. I don't have a lot of room. So I'm going to just minimize it, and I'll come look at it as I make some changes here. So we learned before that we have to put tags in order to format it. But as you see, there's a lot of things missing. Visual Studio Code did not give us the beginning skeleton like Khan Academy did. So we need to add that. I'm going to go ahead and press return. And this is where your vocabulary list could come in handy, or you could just pay attention to my video and you'll also be able to get the tags here. The first tag on a page is doctype HTML. So I'm going to go ahead and write that. Doctype, oops, I forgot the exclamation point, doctype HTML, and close the tag. Okay, the next most important tag on the page, which you must have, is the HTML tag. Now, the browser probably can understand that you're writing in HTML without it, but it's never a bad idea to set the expectations for your browser to view HTML. So I'm going to go ahead and just press return and write HTML. And what's cool is if I just press tab, it will make the closing arrow without me having to touch it. And of course, it goes at the very end as well. Type it in. And there's a fast way instead of having to type it in with the program. So I'm going to go ahead and make the bracket, and there's a list. I can just press return, and the first thing on the list is what will appear. Because I just made HTML, it's guessing that I want to close it after. All right. So now it's starting to look a little bit more like it's supposed to, but there's some more things that I'm missing. Can you see what else I'm missing? Okay, I'm missing the head. So I'm going to go ahead and on line 3, type in the head. And it probably will go ahead and do the closing head, which is good. We need it for later. I'm going to press return. And now I can put some things in the head, which I'll do in a moment. Let me go ahead and put the body, because this is supposed to actually be in the body tag. I'm going to go ahead and press return and make the body. And since I don't want the closing body to go here, I'm just going to Command exit to cut it. And I want the body to be within the HTML tag, but below by boat. So I'm going to press return. And I have body. Let me take a moment and tab appropriately. So head is nested in HTML, so I'm going to tab this over. All of body is also nested in HTML, and so I'm going to tab it over all at once so that HTML lines with HTML, head lines with head, body lines with body. Okay, so this is looking a little bit better, but I don't think it's going to change much on my actual website. Let me go ahead and save this and refresh my page. No, nothing's changed, but I'm not done. So there's more formatting. The first thing that I want to do is to make Visit Anytown USA into a headline. So let me press tab because it goes within the body. In fact, let me tab everything over because all of this is nested in the body. It just makes it look nicer. Does it work without it? Yes, but it's just not very neat, and it's harder to find things later. All right, the first one I want to do is an H1. And again, when I typed H1, it automatically did the closing, which is fine. I'm just going to go ahead and cut it, Command X, and Command V to paste. I know a lot of you are used to the copy, which is Command C, but then you have to delete it afterwards. If you just Command Exit, it will just cut it, put it in the memory so you can later paste it. Okay, so I have a nice heading, and if I save that, and I refresh my index page, now my website's starting to get a little bit of character because it has a nice headline at the top. Okay, now I have things to do, but I'm going to come back to that and make this into a list because things to do: hiking, biking, horseback, backpacking, amazing museums. Actually, amazing museums is a title in H2. So I'm going to go ahead and put H2 here. And again, cut it and paste it. Another title is Splash Anyone Water Park. This is also a title. I'm also going to give it an H2 because I don't want it to be as big as the headline at the very top, but I do want it to match the size of Amazing Museum's headline. I also want to make a headline around Best Zoo in Town. And now I've got a nice looking website, and I'll show you what it looks like so far. You can also refresh your screen because if you've done it correctly, your screen will now have a headline at the top and 3 more headlines below. It's starting to look more like a website. All right, well, like I said before, we want to make a list where it says things to do. So let's make this into a title, a headline in H2. Command X, Command V. And then give this an unordered list. And I want to close the unordered list underneath backpacking. When I pasted it in, it pasted it in the wrong section, so I'll just tab it over. And I'm going to move hiking down 1. Actually, I'm going to tab these over 2 because these 4 list items are nested inside unordered list. And as you know, because you practiced, you've got to make a list item. And another list item. And I'm going to go ahead and save what I've done so I can take a look at it. And there you see I actually have this cool unordered list. Alright, let me keep going. I also want to make a list down here below where it says how to get here. I'm going to go ahead and make an ordered list this time. So I have one unordered on the page and one ordered list and one unordered list. So how to get here is also going to be in H2. If I get annoyed that it keeps making the double, I can just press delete and make it again and press return, because if it always wants to close what I've just started. And I'm going to move down this line, and this time instead of an unordered list, I'm going to make an ordered list. And close it underneath by boat. For some reason I have an extra space here, so I'm going to delete it. And tab all of this over since it's all part of the ordered list. It's nested underneath it. And I will wrap each in list item tags. And this is all review so far. We haven't learned anything new. We're just, except for how to create a website from scratch in Visual Studio Code. And now I'm almost done. And I'm going to go ahead and save that and take a look at my website. And it's pretty cool. I mean, it looks a lot better than it used to look, that's for sure. It has bullets up here and it has numbers down here. Before ending, we also need to put our paragraphs in paragraph form. So right now in my website, you'll see that it just looks like one big paragraph for Amazing Museums, Splash Anyone Water Park, and Best Zoo in Town. But in actuality, I want to break these paragraphs up into smaller paragraphs because they're not paragraphs. In actuality, I want to break this large chunk into a few paragraphs. Okay, to do that, every line is a paragraph. So line 16, I'm going to go ahead and make a p tag. I'm going to cut it, go to the very end of line 16, and paste my closing p tag. And do that for each of the lines that I see, because actuality, every line is a paragraph. So again, make a paragraph, cut the closing, go to the end, paste it in, make another p tag, go to the, oops, that's a short one, and do that for Splash Anyone Water Park. Go to the end of the line, paste it in, go to the next one, and that's another paragraph. I pressed the wrong button. If that happens, just click on index.html and you're back. I pressed Command P instead of Shift P. And one more paragraph for Best Zoo in Town. All right, let's see what that looks like. Refresh the screen. Now I've got 3 paragraphs for Amazing Museum, 3 paragraphs for Splash Anyone Water Park, 1 paragraph for Best Zoo in Town, and an ordered list. This is what your web page should look like. This is where we're going to end today. We'll still need to add some CSS to this to make it look really good, but we're going to do this tomorrow. At this point, if you got done quickly, you can use the rest of the time to go to the next lessons in Khan, you're going to be learning how to put links on a website.